Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Write an Adventure, our ongoing YouTube stream where we're writing a D&D adventure in real time, walking through every single step of the process from ideation to drafting to map making to encounter building, literally every facet. If you're just joining us for the first time, I'm RJ Kerr, and we are working on an adventure that we began, oh gosh, 20 weeks ago at this point or so, where we were building an adventure where the characters are hired by a community leader from the town of Sky Song Gulch to recover the only known deposit of cold iron, or MacGuffin, which was lost in a glacial mine and fortress, once ravaged and then deserted because of the disease, cackle fever. Uh, the community needs it to save themselves from the foretold coming of the Bloodgood Sisters Hag Coven. And the characters have been led to believe that the village plans to fight these powerful Fae with the cold iron. But once they recover it, they return and they discover that the village actually intends to pay off the hags with it, thus completing an ancient pact. So the party has to decide whether or not they're going to turn over the cold iron and kind of wash their hands of this, or whether or not they're going to oppose the hags, either by convincing the community to rise up or by standing on their own. So, for the last few weeks, we have been working on the foundations of the map for our for our fortress, our mine, a glacial structure we're calling the Berg. And we wrapped up the basics of that about a week ago. And then this past Saturday, we started working again on filling in some of the thematic rooms, some of the details of the the Berg itself. And so we're going to continue doing that today. I think um, we've got a lot in here. As you know, as I keep saying, we if we were in a pinch, we really could just run this adventure as is and kind of fill in the gaps as we go. But since we've got time to tinker with this and play around, let's go ahead and fill in some more of the details. So we've completed pretty much everything on the mine level. Certainly, there's some things that could bear cleaning up when we go back through to kind of edit this up at the very end, but pretty much everything's filled out there. So now we're working on the fortress level. And so thinking we just kind of go through here, section by section and fill out details as needed. Let's do a quick scan of the fortress level and see what kind of encounters we have. So we've got, our little initial description up at the entry ramp. There's the gatehouse. We've got sort of that great hall space, which is a more thematic space. Nothing for Dunning Hall yet. Garrison has got a major encounter in it. Equipment stores are a little, gimme with the with some equipment. Um, we originally had this designed as sort of one communal privy with some great uses in there, but when we did our map, we ended up with we ended up with like all kinds of little, little privy chambers off of communal and major rooms, and so we're probably going to want to have to change this up a little bit to make this more of a random encounter kind of room, kind of section, so we don't have to write one for each and every single one of those tiny rooms. And then we have the treasury and the library. So I'm thinking, I'm thinking our gatehouse needs an encounter. Um, undead defenders still at their posts. That sounds like something that we need here. Um, so, um, okay. So let's look at that. This doesn't need to be a difficult encounter. In fact, it should probably be a relatively easy one. This is just kind of to warm up the characters. Um, what do we got here? We've got skeletons, we've got acolytes that are undead, and we've got a mummy. So probably skeletons. We're probably looking at more skeletons for this. Let's hit up a quick encounter builder. I mean, it's one of the things I love about D&D Beyond, is the ability to kind of just quickly knock together some encounters. So let's manage that, and let's hit for first level characters, we're going to adjust those to third here. Go with that. Let's hit skeletons, right? So how many of those do we need? Okay, 6 becomes medium, 5. Yeah, we'll do 5 because then you can have, thematically we could have 2 guards and a, the gatehouse sergeant or whatever, however we want to phrase that. But again, we're not looking for a real challenging encounter here. This is just something to kind of warm up the characters, to remind them that there are things living in here, and to make them a little more cautious moving forward, especially since we're going to have some harder encounters in places like the garrison, which is relatively close by. So let's say undead. Let's see here. Eternal Gate Guards. Intersection. Yeah, capitalize Eternal. Why not? Spell internal properly. Why not? Okay, and so let's see here. 5 skeletons. Still guard the gate. They attack the characters from up above with bows. Okay, yeah, we can just say that. That being said, so we've got the gatehouse, the main entry of the fortress, yada yada yada. Liverpool's the ramp area. Yeah, okay. So I think probably we want to make sure the gate is open, so it's not so the characters don't encounter a closed portcullis and end up in a situation where they're not sure how to get in. Since we have a secret entrance around the back, we want to make sure that this entrance is an obvious one. So let's say, though the portcullis, right, clear that spot. There we go, 2 L's there. The portcullis has long since rusted. I want to just say long since become inoperable. Operable. There you go. Cool. So that way there's no chance of it being closed out, but there is the tactical disadvantage of them having to come up the ramp as they approach. So the characters from above with bows attack the approaching characters. Okay. All right, and that's something that we're going to want to add to our map when we get to the point where we're doing the final details on it. If we're, we have our Berg map, we have our gatehouse here, right? So we kind of have this all lined out. We don't necessarily, for just one upper section, we don't need to do a whole nother map section for this, but we should put a sign for a trap door in here, a ladder leading up, or stairs, or something like that to indicate that there's a second story to us, for us here when we get to this. No need to do that now. We'll do that when we are finishing, and we've finished up the adventure key, and we're going back through and editing and updating things and make sure everything kind of fits together. But it's worth noting. So let's make a note to ourselves so don't forget. Comment, update map with second story for gatehouse. Cool. All right, so remember that when we get back to it. Cool. So, Great Hall, Dining Hall. We're also going to want stuff in the treasury and in the library. The treasury needs to have treasure in it. You know, frankly, for a structure this size, it probably has a small hoard of treasure that was likely pillaged to some degree. So we're going to want to make sure we've got treasure in there. Treasure. So, let's see. TBD on that one. Come back to that because we'll roll a couple times in a horde, random, horde treasure list and take that and kind of divvy it up throughout this place. Because we definitely want treasure in the treasury, but we want there to be gaps in there, right? We don't want it to be just one big lump sum because we want to feel like people are escaping this place. And so people with access to the treasury maybe did a little bit of looting in there. Perhaps. Let me think about that because we also kind of have this feel of people just kind of like up and leaving. So maybe it's still untouched, largely. We'll have to think about that. Instead, let's go to the throne room here. I had kicked around for a little while the idea of having kind of another encounter in the throne room, kind of another easy to medium encounter where perhaps the regent of this fortress is now undead and crazed, but I don't know that we necessarily need that. Although I like the idea of kind of building the players up to kind of expect it. And so maybe we are going to write, I think we're going to write the throne room so that there are obvious bodies in here, obvious skeletons that, very much suggest that this is going to become the undead and then end up being just inert. So let's see here. Let's get our sensory features going. Okay. Let's say the desiccated. Can't spell that word to save my life, can I? Okay. The desiccated corpse let's see, a desiccated corpse reigns over this once regal hall. The fineries, the fine robes, and torque that still adorn its frost crusted flesh are faded and pocked from time and cold. All right. Let's see here. Skeletons still in their ceremonial armor. Slump against icy columns. Dead at their posts. Okay. So then we are going to want we're going to want some other senses in here. That's our kind of our visual. Let's get our let's get a different sense in here. Let's play up on that sort of wild, broken magic that pervades this place. So let's say um, the air feels taut here, as if building feels taut here, like the moments before a summer storm. Sourceless okay, how am I doing that? Okay, I have a sourceless humming, let's say buzzing, jangles along your nerves. Cool. All right. And then what else? Jingles on your nerves and until you feel the need. I don't know. Jingles on your nerve. Air feels taut here, like the moments before a summer storm. Okay, that's probably good enough. We don't need to get too crazy with that. And then let's get another sense involved there. So we have that sense. We have sight. We have a sense of touch, or well, close enough to the sense of touch. Let's see. Okay, yeah, let's get smell in here. Let's say, despite the numbing cold, the scent of death, limes every breath, or limbs every breath. Yeah, we could leave it there. Okay. So that gives us that. This goes over this once Regal Hall from, say, slumped in the ice carved in its ice carved throne. Cool. Give a little bit of feel to this room. Make it seem like an actual place and not just an empty gap on the map. Okay. Let's see. Now the nobles' chambers. If we look at the map here, we made a bunch of them. We went whole hog on that, right? So we've got several of them. We have the library here. We've got the treasury there, and then we've got the royal apartments here. So with the nobles' chambers, we probably want a little bit of variation between them, but we don't necessarily need to write a different description for each one. So when we eventually number these, we'll do something like 5A, 5B, 5C, 5D, along those lines. So assuming that they're 5, right? So let's work with that. Okay. Let's see. Chamber A, D. That's not what I Why did I copy that? Not bold everything. All right. D. Okay. Chamber D. Say this chamber, this block of rooms presents the royal apartments. Featuring a bedroom, a sitting room, and a private office. Furnishings are lavish, but remain hauntingly untouched, save for a thickening coat of hoarfrost. Okay, cool. Yeah, so like, you know, in a section like this, we just need to give each one a little bit of flavor. We don't necessarily need to go nuts with all this. But it's worthwhile just giving each one a little bit of uniqueness, and then we can do some generalized kind of description up the top here. You know, we'll do something similar when we get to the you know, the workman living spaces here, because we're not going to want to write something for each and every single one of these chambers. Instead, we'll write sort of a generalized description, and then we'll add a table that allows us to kind of you know, individualize these spaces as needed. Because again, also the likelihood that your players are going to explore every single one of them is minimal, and even if they do, you know, having unique descriptions for each one is going to get tedious even for them. So we don't need to worry about that too much. But we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there. In the meantime, let's give these a little bit flavor. You know, these are, in my mind, this is sort of the leadership of this fortress. They're, you know, they're the 1%, right? They're the upper echelon. So the rooms obviously are going to be they're going to be more comfortable. They're going to be a little bit more spacious in terms of the amount of private space they get. We see that from when we drew on the map. You know, so nice furnishings, probably, you know, nice wool woven you know, bed sheets and clothings and all that kind of stuff, and nicely sculpted furniture. But that's all kind of general stuff. So what kind of themes do we want to give each of these rooms? And I don't mean, it could be thematic in terms of the decoration, but we just want to give each room something that makes it feel a little bit different. So okay, let's try this. This is the unicorn room. Whoever, I should say, whatever noble inhabited this space prior to its abandonment must have had a deep love of unicorns, as the creatures feature heavily in the tapestries, um, furniture designs, and even bed sheets of this space. Yeah, it's a little bit silly, but sometimes you need that, right? Uh, your players, stalking through creepy, abandoned, disease and undead-ridden fortress may appreciate a giggle when they find a room that is was clearly populated by a unicorn girl. Um, and yeah, you gotta have fun with that sometimes. So they don't all have to be animal theme, but well, that's one. Let's ooh um the let's see here the let's try this. The icy walls of this of these chambers have been polished to a mirror finish, creating unsettling warped reflections that dance along every wall. Cool. Yeah. And then let's see. Hmm. Let's, um, let's say the furnishings floor rugs and bedclothes of this chamber, of these chambers, because I guess it's a couple chambers, are all done in shades of blue. Making the room feel even more frigid than the temperature. Even more frigid than the others. Yeah. Okay. And let's get some general features. So we're going to say sensory features following are general to all 4 groups of noble chambers. Okay. Let's say thick, finely woven tapestries adorn every wall of these chambers. Each marred by spots of frost. Okay, and okay, so I guess it would make sense, right? So if the walls in this building and this fortress are glacial, and depending on the thickness, ice is see through to some degree. Now, as we kind of look at this. We've got, lots of spaces where they would be thick enough that you really wouldn't be able to see on the other side. You might get just a little bit of permeation of light through there, but nothing too crazy. So, but it would still make sense for, um, especially thinner walls to have tapestries on them, um, or curtains just for a little bit of privacy, so you block some of that out. I could certainly see people in the noble apartments kind of putting tapestries on all the walls too, just to help, one, cut down the echo, and two, to to kind of hold in some of that heat to make the place just a little bit warmer than it might be otherwise. So let's add a little bit more. Let's see here. Let's see here. Dark wooded furniture. Let's see. The furniture in each of these rooms is dark wooded. Furniture in each chamber is crafted of an oiled dark wood featuring let's say most featuring wintry themes carved as detailing into posts, legs, and drawers. Cool. Dark wood. Okay. And finally, I guess the amount of cloth and fabric in this place would really cut down the echo in comparison to the rest of the building, right? The rest of the fortress. So I'm sure they've got this kind of stuff around to help make the place a little less echoey. These rooms in particular would seem a lot less echoey. So we should say the echo that pervades the rest of the fortress is noticeably diminished, and these chambers, owing to the thickness of the rugs, mattresses, and tapestries. Cool. All right. A little bit of that there. Okay. It's good. Kind of want to tackle. I kind of want to hit up the treasury and the library here. I want to think about what kind of stuff gets, what kind of stuff we might put in here. A place like this, you can do a couple of different things. So I will typically, when I don't really have a concept of treasure in mind in exactly what I'm going for, I will usually come over to like the some of the random treasure generators here in the DMG, and just roll up on the hoard tables, because we can get a division of magical items here. We can definitely get some gold and silver and platinum and that kind of thing, and then some art objects and that kind of stuff too, which kind of add. I like putting art objects. I like putting gems, jewelry, and that kind of thing in as treasure, because I think it adds a little bit of flavor to these, um, uh, to just what's otherwise just a pile of coins, right? Or a chest of coins. Um, Probably chests in here. I doubt anybody's going to the treasury here and rolling around in the coins like they might as a with a dragon's hoard. So let's roll some dice. Stand by. All right. Let's see what we come up with. Okay. I'll move my dice slightly away from the microphone so I don't deafen you with the clatter of the rolls. Okay. And let's see what we've got going on. I'm going to move this to my other screen here for the moment just so that I can keep an eye on it and still take notes over here. So, treasury. So let's go ahead and roll up some wealth. So, third level characters, we're going to probably have more than one horde in here, kind of sprinkled around. So we'll start on the challenge rating 0 to 4 horde, just to see what we shake out with and go from there. So let's go ahead and hit our copper pieces. So what are 66 times 100? Okay. Okay, so that is 16, 18. Okay, so I've got so 1,800 copper pieces. And we'll clean up the verbiage on this here in a bit, but we'll start with that. 3d6 for our silver pieces. Okay, so that's 900 silver. Okay, and yeah, I'm rolling it again. There's going to be more than 30 gold pieces there. Okay, so that's a 9. We're gonna bump that up. This is the wealth of a small kingdom. So we're gonna say that is going to be another 900 gold pieces. Why not? Let's add some. Well, hold on. I may adjust that. I may adjust that down a little bit depending on what we roll on gems and art objects and all that jazz. So let's see. Let's get our percentage die in here. I have a secret love of percentage die. And that is 51. So that's going to hit our 2d4 art objects of 25 gold pieces, 25 gold piece value. Okay, it's pretty good. And then 1d6 times on the magic item at table A. Good place to start. Okay, so let's get that for a maximum of the art objects. That seems suitable for this. So we're going to say 8 art objects. I will define what those are in a minute here. 25 GP each. Wonderful. All right. And then let's see what we got for the magic items. Ooh, again, max magic items. Number 6 of them on the table A. So let's see. We're gonna mix and match here. I think I'm gonna do some on table A and some from table B. Because there's some cooler stuff on table B. Let's be honest. Table A is a far more common list. There's nothing wrong with mixing matching as you see fit there. Xanathars has some really cool guidance on how to break down when you will, how much how many magical items you award to your characters, uh, depending on the tier that they're at. And so I not won't say that it's a hard and fast rule and that that's the best way to do it, but it does kind of describe a general bell curve, which I think makes a lot of sense. Tier one characters getting a little bit of magic, in there as they're just starting out, they're finding some cool stuff, but then finding more magic items in sort of the middling part of their career, and then as they get to higher tiers, getting fewer but more potent magic items. Um, I think that gives a very satisfactory kind of curve. Now, when you're just kind of writing an adventure that kind of stands alone like this, it's hard to have the whole campaign in mind when you imagine that. So I tend to, add mostly, a few sort of common magic items, a number of uncommon, and then every once in a while I'll dabble in a drop in a rare, just for a little bit of spice. But I don't like to pack these full of rare, so we don't end up with a DM who ends up with their characters getting rare magic items every single session in perhaps a campaign that is not a high magic setting. Although if it was, you can do that. Nothing wrong with that. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and roll up some on the table A. So that is 61. So we're looking at Potion of Climbing. Cool. Potions are fun to pass out. Okay, let's get another one there. It was 48. Potion of Healing. Okay. Seems like an odd place for that, the treasury. I don't know that I like that. We'll think about that. We're gonna put that as a placeholder for the moment. We may change that. All right. There. 60. Spell scroll cantrip. We're gonna make that a first level spell scroll. What the hell? Okay. First level. I have to admit, I'm really not a fan of giving out cantrips, the spell scrolls. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it necessarily. It just, I have one of the advantages of a spell scroll is being able to cast a spell that you don't need to burn a spell slot on, right? So it's a clutch thing to have in your inventory, or if you're a wizard, the ability to learn that spell. And both of those benefits are negated by spell scrolls that are cantrips. So I'm not a fan. Not a fan of doing that. All right, so let's bump it up. Let's hit our magic item table B. And that's going to be 50. So potion of water breathing. You know what? I'm going to say we're going to change this potion of health to a potion of resistance, and we're going to make that resistance against cold. That seems more thematic here. Let's put that potion of water breathing in here, but we may change that out. I really like to keep places like this, thematic if I can. The magic items in these places making as much sense as I can make them, because your players, no matter what you do, are going to try to apply a certain level of logic to these encounters, and that makes sense. Of course, they would. They're trying to understand the world that you build around them. Okay, 30. Okay. So ammunition +1. Let's bump it up one more. Let's hit let's get one on the C table. Let's see. 30 again on that one. Potion of clairvoyance. Okay. Clairvoyance. Helps if I... Why can't I type voyance? Okay. All right. So that's probably a good number of things to have in here. But let's do a quick audit and kind of see what makes sense. I don't... The potion of water breathing I kind of get with all the ice. It's solid water, right? That almost makes sense to me. I don't know that how I feel with the potion of climbing. What does that one do? You drink this, you can spill walking. This time you have advantage. Yeah, it's just advantage. No. We don't want that. So let's take a look at the list here. All right. So that one was a table A. Let's replace that with a drift globe. Because simple but still useful. Potion resistance makes sense. That's technically an item B, taking a thing, but whatever. A table B kind of thing. Spell scroll level 1. Potion of water breathing I can almost get on board with. But let's see if there's anything else on there that might feel good. So I'm just kind of scrolling through the list here. I mean, you can also just look up the different magic items and by rarity and make your choices, especially if you want to use a the breadth of the source books that you have available to you. But as I mentioned, I sometimes like to kind of constrain myself a little bit so that the people who are playing these things when I publish them don't have to have a million source books to do this kind of stuff. Let's see. Oil of slipperiness. That might be better than the potion of water breathing. This sticky black unguent is thick and heavy in the container, but it flows quickly when poured. The oil can cover a medium small creature, creature gets the effective freedom of movement for 8 hours. Okay. Yeah, I can. Yeah, let's go with that. Oil of slipperiness instead of that potion of water breathing. Plus, that just feels like fun. That being said, we got a lot of potions in here, and I think we need one more kind of feel-good item, something that's a little more permanent and it's a little less temporary. So let's move down a little bit, and you know what? Let's put in a good old-fashioned. Let's put a good old-fashioned weapon +1 in there. Let's give somebody a +1 weapon. Why not? What's it going to hurt? And that feels good in a treasury. The library will put more spell scrolls in there. In fact, we might get rid of that spell scroll in there just because we're going to have them in other places. Or, you know what? Let's do that. Let's get rid of that there. Let's put a bag of holding in place there. That's not a game breaker. But it's still such a nice thing to have mechanically. Cool. All right. So now we've got a little bit of wealth here that feels good. So we'll add treasure to the library, and we'll do spell scrolls TBD. Cool. Come up with those. Now let's figure out what those art objects are. So let's get some inspo again from our list. Okay, so silver ewer, carved bone statuettes, bracelets, vestments, um, masks, chalices, dice, mirror, skill handkerchief, gold locket. Okay, all right. So yeah, statuettes, paintings, silver. Let's put that in here. 8 art objects. Okay. We'll make a list here, and then we'll say see below on that. Cool. And we'll say a let's okay, we'll say a silver chalice with azure detailing, 25 GP. Great. We'll say a quartz, say clear quartz statuette, so transparent that it appears carved from ice, 25 GP. We'll say I like the cloth of gold vestments. We'll say decorated with small cold iron stones. Just little pieces of it. Why not? We'll see what the players can come up with that. Okay, and let's say that's so that's 3. Let's do let's do 3 silver bracelets with moonstone adornments. I'll say 25 GP each. And okay, so that brings us to 6 items. So let's get 2 more. Let's say a let's say a ivory masquerade mask with snowflake decorations, 25 GP, and off the top of my head, let's go with yeah, we'll say a electrum locket. Say an empty electrum locket. Maybe the images within have been lost to time. 5 GP. Cool. All right, so 8 art items here. You don't always have to delineate art items or for that matter with gems, you don't always have to define what's there, but it can add something to the adventure when you do. Okay. Um, so the treasury, let's get some sensory details in there. So let's say, getting close to our time. Let's say stillness in this long forgotten chamber. Has a quality like time waiting to be it has a delicate quality, as if the smallest disturbance will send the whole room crumbling into dust. So despite the chill, very little frost has collected on the chests and displays that organize the wonders of this chamber. And it's technically both site, but whatever. Let's see. What else? I guess stillness is more of a couple of senses. Let's see here. Magic contained within this room feels ancient, steadfast, unlike the frantic churning magic that pervades other parts of the fortress. Yeah, just should be within, I guess. Yeah, so maybe just touching on that contact with the weave, especially for our spellcasters, right? That feeling that there's something very stagnant, very static, timeless in this space, to kind of go along with the stillness. Okay, yeah, I think that's probably fine for what we've got for the moment on that one there. And look at that, we are pretty much at our time. So thank you so much for joining me today. I know we've swapped to a new time, shifting for the weekends. We're going to be doing these Monday night live streams going forward, starting at 6 p.m. Central Time, because I'm on Central Time. And again, we'll go for an hour. We'll keep doing these every week. The first 5, or I should say the next 5, are already scheduled, so you can set reminders if you go check out the other parts of my channel. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and be sure to hit that bell icon so that you never miss a video. As always, I really appreciate you being here and spending this time with me. I really enjoy this unstructured, organic space to kind of just play around with TTRPGs and adventure writing and with you all and kind of get into the flow. So thank you so much for making this time for me today, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye now.